Hello, my name is Sally and I am one of the makeup artists working with Look Fabulous Forever, which is skincare, hair care and makeup specifically designed for the older face. Today I want to talk to you about midday makeup touch-ups should you need them. And it's actually first thing in the morning. And what I'm going to do today is I'm going to talk you through what I have done already. And then I'm actually going out. I'm going out for lunch. So I'm going to come back after lunch and show you how I would touch up my makeup, the little tips and tricks that I use and what I personally use to touch up my makeup, tweak my makeup to make sure that it then looks good for the afternoon and the rest of the day. So what have I done so far? The most important thing is, obviously I've done my skincare. The most important thing when you want your makeup to last is to use our 3 primers. So that's what I've done, as I do every day. The first primer I have used is Smooth Like Silk Face Prime. So I put my skincare on, my moisturizers, and then I let that sink in. Then I waited a few minutes, then I put the primer on. And I then have used today Continuous Cover Foundation in shade 2, mixed with a little bit of Light Look Beauty Balm in shade 0.5 and an extra squirt of my primer. And that will ensure that my foundation goes on. That's the one thing I never ever touch up. If I put my primer on, my face prime, I don't need to touch up my foundation throughout the day or evening. It just lasts all day. I have used my concealer in shade 2, cover to cover concealer in shade 2, and I have used my translucent powder just to set that all in place. Now, the second primer I used today was my Smooth Out Eye Prime, this one, which really is important for me. Again, eye makeup is something I don't really ever touch up. Well, not my eyeshadow, but I'll talk to you about eyeliner in a moment. So I actually have put a little bit of Smooth Out Eye Prime all over my eyelids. And today I have used my Warm Brown Trios. I have used Bring Back Brow Shape in shade Blonde. And again, this is a product that is waterproof. So once I've put that on, I never need to touch that up. I personally quite like to use my waterproof Live Lash mascara so that once I've got my mascara on in the morning, again, that's something I don't tend to touch up. You might need to do that if you don't wear a waterproof one. And it might be that you like to use eyeliner. I today have used my soft eyeliner in dark brown. And I have put a little bit of shadow over the top to set that. But that might be something, again, because it's a very soft one, you might find that it moves a little bit. So I'm going to show you later how you might want to touch up with that if you need to. So that's my eyes. Lips, really important. If you find that your lipstick migrates into little fine lines, fine vertical lines, which I have definitely got, Never Feather Lip Prime is a fantastic product to help your lipstick last. So I put that on the outer edge of my lips before using, I've used today Strawberry Lip Liner, this one, all over. So I've gone on the outside and then I filled it in. And then I've just used a fairly neutral shade of lustrous lipstick in Tawny Beige. This isn't a long-lasting lipstick, so this is something that I will need to touch up later, particularly if I eat and drink. If you use one of our all-day lasting lipsticks, you might find you don't need to touch that up very much, but often you might after eating. So finally, face, I have used a little bit, as I told you, I put the powder on. I have got a tiny bit of bronzer on today. I swept a bit of bronzer on after my powder, and I have used some beautiful peach cream blush just on my cheeks. So that is what I have done. Before I go out, the last thing I like to do is to just give myself an insurance boost with powder. The powder is incredibly fine. So this is the translucent powder. I'm actually going to just finish off by having a sweep with my powder brush number 1. And I'm just going to pop it all over just to ensure that my makeup is set and is not shiny at all. So just a dusting. I already did it after my concealer, but I like to just put one little sweep of powder over before I leave the house. So I'm off out now, and I will see you later after lunch. Good afternoon. Hello again. So it's Sally, and I am back after I went out and had a drink. I had a green tea, and then I have just had some lunch. So we're talking today about midday makeup touch-ups. So as you can see, actually, because I used the primers, my makeup's not looking that bad, even though I've been out all morning and I've eaten and I've drunk. I haven't reapplied anything yet. I would say the minimum that I take with me or have with me in my trusty makeup bag is to have my lips, to redo my lips, particularly, as I said earlier, if I'm not using an all day long, the long lasting lipsticks. So in fact, yeah, my lipstick has come off. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to just add a little bit of extra lip liner. If you are somebody that really finds you have a problem with feathering or bleeding, you might want to put another bit of your Never Feather Lip Prime. I don't usually do that again, but you can if you want to. So let me just put some of my strawberry lip liner on. Outline first and then fill in. That already looks a little bit stronger. And I'm going to now apply directly from the bullet, but you could have a lip brush with you if you wanted to, my Tawny Beige lipstick. Quite a neutral colour, but because I've put it over a slightly stronger lip liner, for me, I quite like the effect that has. So instantly, that would be my sort of minimum top up, ready to go. What I also tend to have in my bag with me, I carry some cotton tips, and I also carry, if you've got the space in your bag, a few brushes. Not essential, but these are the brushes that I like to have with me. I like to have my concealer brush with me, blusher brush, powder brush, and a couple of little brushes. So for eyes, the wedge brush and the number 7 brush. Again, not essential. You don't have to have those brushes. You can just do it all with fingers. But what I like to do is check my foundation. Because I used the Smooth Like Silk face primer, I don't ever really touch up, as I said earlier, my foundation. But what I like to have with me always, just for emergencies, is my concealer. Very small, easy to carry. And what I like to do is to check any areas that might just need that little bit of extra work. So it might be that the foundation, maybe you've rubbed your face a little bit during the day, during the morning, and you might want to just put a little bit of extra concealer, maybe where you've got slightly broken capillaries, or just a tiny bit around your eyes. If you're somebody that touches your eyes, or you wear glasses and the concealer just slightly comes off, then I like to just put a little bit of extra concealer on sometimes, not always, just in any little areas that you just might need that little bit of extra help. Sometimes the chin area. So it doesn't take long, but you can just instantly look a little bit more professional and finished after having had your lunch or whatever you've done in the morning. The other thing I do is I check, because I am wearing eyeliner, occasionally, depending how hot I get, I just like to double check that there's not been any kind of migration. And often it's funny, it's on this eye. I think it's the lines underneath my eye. It just maybe moves a little bit. So I like to just, either with a cotton tip, just clean everything up a little bit. And again, you can even just use a little bit of your concealer just to clean everything up as well. And what I'm going to do is just, again, you might not need to do this, you might not want to do it. I like to just go over a tiny bit of my eyeliner just to give myself a little bit of extra oomph for the afternoon. Just a tiny bit, not very much, but just to refresh the eyeliner slightly. If you find your eyeliner does smudge a little bit, then you can either use, that's why I like to have the wedge brush, which is the small brush, this one in my bag. I quite like to take my powder, which I always carry with me, my little bit of powder, and you can just take a little bit on your wedge brush so that you don't have to carry your eyeshadow with you, and just powder a little bit if you want to, just to sort of set the eyeliner a little bit and soften it. Just with your wedge brush, and that will just hold it in place. I don't usually do anything with my eyeshadow. However, if you've got this brush with you, what is sometimes nice to do is to just give it a quick blend. Again, because I've used my Smooth Out Eye Prime, there hasn't been any creasing at all. But if there was any, I could just sort of soften that out with my brush. So what I'm going to do now is just, again, check my blusher. That's something that I often, again, if I've touched my face, my blusher might have moved a little bit. So my blusher is something that I do keep in my bag. Again, really small. I just keep the small one, the peach cream. And I'm just going to just make sure that I've got enough colour on my cheeks. Just a little bit of extra colour. If you are warm toned, you might even want to carry your bronzer with you. It's a bit bigger, so I don't often do that, but you could just put a sweet more bronzer on. But that's where having a blusher brush can be quite nice, just to blend that in, so you've got that little bit of extra blending. So the blusher balances up with the lips that you've just replenished. And then finally, again, just to take your powder, again, I have this in my bag, ideally with a powder brush, or you might prefer to use a powder puff if you want one of those, or sort of if you want to press it. But I quite like the fact that with the brush, again, it just will sort of soak up any oils that have, any residue of oils that you might have had over the morning coming through, to make your skin just look flawless again, and because it's so fine, it doesn't look cakey. I think if you start adding more foundation, it can look a little bit cakey and too much. If you've used the primer in the morning, you shouldn't need, I don't think, to add a lot more foundation. I never do. For me, it's just adding a touch more powder, maybe a little bit of concealer in the areas that you need. Sometimes I put a bit more concealer in my inner V here if I'm looking a bit tired as the day progresses, and that instantly gives me a little bit of lightness as well. So that's really all I've had in my bag. I've got my powder, definitely my powder. I've got my blusher, which is there. I've got my concealer, and I've got my lipstick, really important, lippy, really important. And for me, I like to have my lip pencil there as well. So they are, and finally, again, don't always carry this with me, but if you are a lady that your eyeliner moves a little bit, a bit of eyeliner, just have that with you again, just to touch up the eyes if you want to, which I just carry in my makeup bag. So now, hopefully, I am ready to face the afternoon, having done a few tweaks on my makeup. So I hope you found that helpful, and if you've got any tips for your midday makeup touch-ups, then do put them in the comments below. But thank you so much for watching, and I'm off to face the afternoon now. Thank you. Bye-bye.